Thank you so very much for this opportunity to congratulate you on your 7th annual conference on education for sustainable development in Ethiopia. My name is Charles Hopkins, and I hold the UNESCO Chair in Reorienting Education Towards Sustainability at York University in Toronto, in Canada. It was established in 1999, and as such, it was the first UNESCO chair in ESD. Along with our co-chair, Catherine Cole, we work with universities, non-government organizations, ministries of education, and colleagues in general in over 60 countries around the world. So our chair fits so very nicely with your theme this year of partnership for environmental literacy and sustainable schools and communities. Now, in a way, too, I should say congratulations to you as an example of constructive partnering as your three distinct institutions, the Ethiopian Graduate School of Theology, the network of Southern Ethiopian teacher education colleges, and the network of evangelical theological seminaries. Together in partnering, you people have done so very much, both in Ethiopia and of course beyond. Now, I'd like to put up just a few slides so that to accompany just a few brief remarks that I would like to make. Again, congratulations on the 7 annual conferences there in Ethiopia. I really wish I could be there with you in Dilla. I would love to hear your accomplishments. You'll be reporting on what you've been doing, because we all need to continually learn of how people adapt what is behind these 17 goals and so on, and ESD in general, beyond the Sustainable Development Goals. How do you adapt this to be locally relevant and culturally appropriate and meaningful and so on? How do you do it and oftentimes the meager resources that one has? Someday I'd like to actually attend one of your conferences. The good news from my perspective is that Catherine and I will be coming to Addis in this fall for a UNESCO Chairs Conference. And so I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you again. But I would like to share some ideas, on the global picture for consideration around your theme. Now, we all work around education for sustainable development, but many of us target SDG 4.7. We should be doing that, yes, but also we need to think of it in a context of all of SDG 4, but also in the bigger picture. On 4 occasions now, and again in September of last year, the United Nations General Assembly again recognized education for sustainable development is not only a key element of SDG 4, but it was the key enabler of all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It's a huge task, and we need to rethink beyond 4.7 how education, public awareness, and training contributes to Ethiopia's overall social, economic, and environmental issues. How does it fit with addressing agriculture, water, employment, violence, peace, and the creation of more livable cities and communities and so on. Now, we do some work now on how ESD collaborates so effectively with global citizenship education. We think of ESD as being in the physical and the natural sciences, the knowledge, the latest in how these things interrelate with one another, right? The research into it. But also global citizenship, it focuses more on how do we build engagement within people? How do we get them to move from the knowledge to action? We know what we should be doing, but often we don't get to do it, right? And so that there is that aspect, the motivational and willingness, but also in GCED, the skills of how to unite, how to develop political movements, and how to understand government, how to bring about societal change, and so on. Those work together so very, very nicely. But also, how does it fit with other issues like human rights, cultural diversity, and that search for peace, and so on? And how do we address it, not in fragmented individual ways, but how do we do that in a more integrated way? And so we do have some good news. It has now been again late last fall. UNESCO and all the member states have agreed on a new recommendation for nations. It is something that they will be held accountable to and be reporting for every 4 years. In this recommendation, 2023, on education for peace, human rights, and sustainable development is how it's known. Its real title is a little bit longer, but it's called the Recommendation on Education for Peace, Human Rights, and Sustainable Development. This could be so very, very useful. And it is aligned with what it is that we are already doing. These are the learning objectives, and you can see respect for diversity, decision-making, peace, conflict resolution, transformative skills, and so on. All of these are things that we really want, that are embedded in the broader aspects of what we're trying to do in creating a more sustainable future. So I see this as a tremendous opportunity that not only aligns with these learning objectives, but it also the basic principles. It has competencies that totally align with what we're doing. And I see opportunities in this, for instance, in the principle in there on technology, principle in this area. Technology not only to be able to to engage with people in remote areas and so on, or hard to serve students, or being able to bring the very best in teaching and so on into the classroom, etc. But new ways of engaging youth. We stumbled upon this one, this poster. It was created with artificial intelligence. Catherine Cole, our co-chair, she simply typed into a program these words: youth demands for climate change education. And the AI generated this poster. Now, it has some work to do on the spelling, yeah. But can you imagine the aid that this could be? Just one example. In global citizenship and in ESD, the ability for youth to come together, generate promotions and so on, and to be able to move forward. So there's great hope, I think, for us with this new recommendation. But through it all, of course, the problem still remains. How do we bring these 17 global goals and the goals that will emerge for 2030, how do we bring this down into our own local part of the world? How do we turn this into locally relevant and culturally appropriate implementation schemes? So we still are working in this area, in the area of whole school or whole institution or whole ministry approaches, so that in our institutions, not just relying on one class or one course in our institution, but it's the entire institute. What is taught overall, the research, the community service, our operations and practices and purchasing and human in our human resources, our HR, what we conduct, how we conduct promotions, hirings, what do we look for in new people, and so on. So all of this must continue in going on. But again, coming back to how do we do this while engaging all 17 goals? So it means, how do we work across our different faculties and colleges and so on? Now, many are exploring going beyond just multidisciplinary approaches to how do we generate new ideas and new approaches, because we realize it's our current approaches that have led us into many of our current problems. So how do we generate a new? And so we're looking into transdisciplinarity, where you do come together in a multidisciplinary way, but we also engage the public. We engage those with expertise in that area, the practitioners from the community, those in agriculture working with the community and so on, to try and come up with new ways that would be accessed and practiced by people in the community. So this is another new area to perhaps consider. And what have you to offer in your role of caring and compassion and spirituality, in engaging culture, as well as, yes, up-to-date knowledge and so on, but combining them all as key elements of transforming society in a knowledgeable yet compassionate way, and the need for synergistically doing this in the theme of your conference of this year of partnership. So in closing, let me remind us that we all have our ecological, social, and economic impacts on society, right? And every day we have both footprints and handprints, and we have choice, right? So sometimes our choice is limited by our resources and so on, but where often we can, we make a choice. And so we have to remember that we have our individual handprints to address our footprints, and we have, importantly, our collective handprints to address our footprints. So conferences such as these are crucial in maximizing both our individual and our collective. So thank you for this virtual invitation. I wish you well for the conference, and I wish you well in the months ahead as you bring about the changes that you decide upon in this conference, and the goals and the targets that you set for yourself. So again, my congratulations, and this your ability for over these 7 years of maintaining this important ESD collective of key ESD enabling institutions. So have a wonderful and a productive conference. Good day.